Welcome to another Lens blog. This one also comes from Australia, but fortunately we're out of our quarantine hotel and the runs that I'm doing now are in Noosa National Park rather than up and down in my hotel room, which I must say is something of a relief. The area I want to talk about today has become very much in vogue, and that is the whole issue of purpose. In businesses everywhere, the topic of purpose is up and running, and companies are thinking about their purpose and their compact with society. Purpose is also alive and kicking at the individual level. As long ago as 2006, we wrote a book, Meaning Inc., about purpose. And it's really satisfying for us to see that purpose has gone from a minority taste to something mainstream. But there is one thing that we talked about in Meaning Inc. that actually hasn't taken hold, and that is the whole area of purpose in society at the national level and at the international level. And that's what I want to talk about today. In business, one of the things that purpose does is it galvanizes people in an organization to address the myriads of internal problems they have. It also brings down silos between areas and reduces fiefdoms. And it also makes businesses look externally rather than being insular and internally focused. Now, when we look at many societies around the world, we see some of these problems arising. So, in a number of societies, even before COVID, the economic mojo had been lost, inefficiencies were coming in, and there were a whole host of cultural problems. Many countries have also descended into their internal cultural wars, which are quite vicious at times. And also, we see many countries retreating into themselves, and everywhere nationalism is on the rise. Now, I believe these problems actually arise from a post-Cold War loss of purpose in many societies. When you have a galvanizing external mission about who you are and what you stand for in the world, a lot of these problems become ameliorated. So what is the solution? Well, I think psychology provides an answer to this issue of purpose at the societal and political level. For many years, psychologists have been looking at political attitudes and the correlations between them and conducting factor analysis to identify dimensions. As you'd imagine, the left-right dimension emerges very powerfully, but almost a stronger dimension is one that is anchored at one end by authoritarianism and at the other end by open, liberal, democratic values. And this dimension explains nearly as much of people's political posture to the world as the left-right one. Now, I think this is a dimension that is coming to the fore in political battles and in international battles around the world. And it suggests a purpose for democratic societies. What if all democratic societies embrace the purpose of protecting, enhancing, and promoting democracy? Now, democracy actually is a fragile flower. It has only existed for a few hundred years in human history, and when it arose briefly in Greece and Rome, it was rapidly snuffed out. Today, we see the rise of countries with strong authoritarian tendencies. We also see authoritarian tendencies on the march internally within many societies. And recently, the US, of all places, nearly succumbed to a semi-authoritarian coup. I believe this battle for open, liberal, democratic values versus authoritarianism will be the fight of our generation. Now, what does this mean? It means politicians, the media, and the public need to lift their sights and focus on the bigger picture rather than on narrower internal squabbles like Brexit or our internal culture wars. It also means countries reaching out beyond themselves, forming alliances. Indeed, I think the world could use a democratic alliance, which is a military, economic, and cultural alliance that intervenes to promote democracy and also when it is under threat, like in Myanmar. Lastly, I think the focus on purpose should force us to confront economic inefficiencies, inequalities, and lack of inclusion in our societies. These are the things that authoritarian societies will point out as problems, and unless we address them, we do not have credibility in flying the flag for our values. I believe purpose can be galvanizing at an individual level and at a business level, but it can be equally galvanizing at a societal, national, international level, and that is what we need to embrace. Thank you.